Hello and welcome to Investment Insight. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button. Now let's break down what's happening in the markets today in a clear and simple way.
Yeah, and we have a really, just a massive topic today.
We really do. I mean, looking at the data on August 19th of this year, 2026, we saw an announcement about a medical breakthrough that, honestly, it sent absolute shockwaves through the stock market.
Oh, totally. And it's one of those things where, the headlines are screaming one thing, but the actual market reality is, well, it's a completely different story.
Right, because we saw the stock of this company just explode one day,
Yeah.
and then literally the very next day, it plummeted.
Exactly.
So, for this deep dive, our mission is to really translate this complex biotech news into, clear, actionable insights for everyday investors, because we want to look past the sensational headlines to understand how the business of medicine is fundamentally changing.
Yeah, and what that actually means for your portfolio.
Exactly. We need to figure out how to spot the difference between, real long-term value and just day one market hype. So let's start with the news itself. What exactly happened on August 19th?
Okay, so based on recent analysis, Moderna and Merck released the phase 3 trial results for something called INTerpath-001.
Right.
And this involved 1,137 patients who had high-risk melanoma. So a really aggressive form of skin cancer.
Okay, so a pretty substantial trial.
Oh, absolutely. And what they were testing was a combination of Moderna's personalized mRNA vaccine, which is called intismeran autogene.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, it really is. But they combined that with Merck's cancer drug, Keytruda. And the results were just phenomenal. The combination successfully prevented cancer recurrence and distant metastasis.
Wow.
Yeah, significantly better than just using Keytruda alone.
Okay, but I want to jump in here for a second because we really need to clarify some of the hype going around.
Yes, please. This is so important.
Because, according to the research data, there's a lot of talk on social media calling this an outright cure for cancer or a guaranteed 10-year survival expansion, right?
Yeah, and that is just, it's a major misconception. The data does not say that.
Right. It's not a magic bullet.
No, it's not. Look, the overall survival data is still being tracked. It's highly effective at delaying recurrence for this specific group of patients, but calling it a universal cure right now is, well, it's just factually incorrect.
So for a beginner investor, you really have to read past those flashy headlines.
Exactly. But honestly, the real innovation here, the thing that's actually changing the game, isn't just the drug itself.
Right. It's the platform, isn't it?
Yes, it's the entire process. So here's how it works. They take a biopsy of a patient's specific tumor. Then they analyze it to identify up to 34 distinct mutated proteins.
And those are called neoantigens, right?
Spot on. Neoantigens. So they find those 34 specific mutations, and then they literally code that information into synthetic mRNA. They inject that back into the patient, which teaches the immune system to recognize and attack those exact proteins. And meanwhile, the Keytruda drug is essentially removing the brakes from the immune system.
Okay, wait. Let me see if I can... For anyone who isn't a biologist, let me try to make this accessible.
Go for it.
So historically, chemotherapy is kind of like carpet bombing the body with chemicals, right? Hoping you hit the bad guys along with the good guys.
Right, very blunt force.
But this new process, it sounds more like taking a fingerprint from the crime scene, going back to the lab to print out a highly specific wanted poster, and then handing that wanted poster directly to the immune system's SWAT team.
I love that. Yes, exactly.
And then Keytruda basically opens the door so the SWAT team can actually get to the criminals.
That is the perfect way to look at it. It is the ultimate personalized medicine. You are giving the immune system the exact coordinates of the enemy.
That is just, it's mind-blowing. But, okay, if the medical science is like printing a custom wanted poster for every single patient, how does that change the business model? Because pharmaceutical companies don't usually work like that.
Oh, it completely flips it upside down. And this is where it gets really interesting for investors.
Right, because I saw, based on recent analysis, Elon Musk actually tweeted about this on X right after the trial results came out.
Yeah, he did.
He said that mRNA technology basically turns disease treatment into a software problem.
And from a tech valuation perspective, he's totally right.
How so?
Well, think about the historical pharma business model. We call it the blockbuster model.
Okay.
A company spends billions of dollars to design one single molecule, like a standard headache pill or cholesterol medication, and then they manufacture that exact same pill for millions of people.
Like Henry Ford's assembly line?
Exactly, pumping out millions of identical Model T cars. The profit margins are huge because making the second pill costs almost nothing. But this mRNA approach, It relies on AI, target selection, bioinformatics, reading genetic code. You are essentially treating biology like information technology.
Okay, but hold on. Let me push back on that for a second on behalf of the beater investor.
Sure.
Because if the business model is shifting away from that Henry Ford assembly line, pumping out identical Model Ts and moving toward like a custom 3D printing shop where every single car is built differently for each individual customer,
Right.
that sounds like a logistical nightmare. I mean, wouldn't that cost an absolute fortune to manufacture?
You just nailed it. That is the exact friction point. And frankly, your point about cost and logistics is exactly what the stock market realized the very next day.
Oh, the roller coaster.
Yeah. Let's look at the data. On August 19th, Moderna's stock exploded by 177%.
Which is just, that's insane for a company of that size.
It added tens of billions of dollars in market cap in a single day. But then the very next day, it plummeted 23.6% and then bounced back 14% on the 21st.
Just massive whiplash. So what actually caused that 177% spike? Because it couldn't have just been people excited about the science.
No, it wasn't just pure optimism. In economic terms, it was a massive short squeeze.
Okay, let's break that down for the listeners. What exactly is a short squeeze?
Okay, so looking at the data, over 13% of Moderna's shares were shorted before this news.
Meaning investors were actively betting that the stock price would go down.
Exactly. They borrow shares, sell them, and hope to buy them back cheaper later. But when this incredibly positive Phase 3 news hit, the stock price started shooting up.
Right.
And those investors betting against it were suddenly losing a ton of money, so they panicked. They were forced to buy shares on the open market just to cover their losses.
Oh, wow.
And when you have all these short sellers frantically buying at the exact same time, it artificially drives the price up like a rocket.
So it's like a stampede for the exits, and that just sends the valuation into orbit.
Precisely. But then reality sets in. Which brings us back to your 3D printing analogy.
The logistics nightmare.
Yes. People realize that the softwareization of medicine does not mean you get software-level profit margins.
Right, because with software, you write the code once and a million people download it for free.
Exactly. But here, you still have physical, highly regulated drugs. You have to physically ship a tumor sample, sequence it, manufacture a custom batch of one, keep it freezing cold, and ship it back.
That sounds wildly expensive.
It is. The true test for investors right now is whether Moderna can achieve what we call economies of scale.
Meaning bringing the costs down as they do it more.
Right. They have to reduce the cost per patient, speed up the time from that tumor biopsy to the actual injection, and lower the failure rate of this custom manufacturing. If they can't do that, the science won't matter because insurance companies won't pay for it.
That makes total sense. So while Moderna is in the trenches trying to figure out this custom manufacturing platform, we also have to talk about their partner, Merck.
Oh, Merck is playing a completely different financial game here.
Yeah, because according to the research data, Merck's motivation for this partnership is entirely strategic. It's a classic defensive business strategy.
It really is. It's all about a concept in the pharma industry called the patent cliff.
Okay, explain the patent cliff for us.
So Keytruda, Merck's cancer drug, brings in over $30 billion.
Billion with a B.
Yes, it is one of the world's biggest cancer drugs. But their patents on it start expiring in 2028.
Ah, and when a patent expires, anyone can make a generic version.
Exactly, cheap knockoff. And the revenue would just fall off a cliff, hence the name.
Okay, so let me use an analogy here. A patent cliff is kind of like a famous restaurant losing the exclusive rights to its secret sauce.
I like that.
Right, like after 2028, anyone on the street can make a cheap knockoff of Keytruda. But by combining it with Moderna's brand new custom mRNA technology,
Yes.
Merck is basically creating a brand new patent-protected super sauce to keep their revenue alive.
That is exactly what they are doing. It's a brilliant move to protect their cash cow. They are extending the commercial life of Keytruda by tying it to this new platform.
And it seems like this isn't just good news for Merck and Moderna. Based on recent analysis, this success is kind of acting like a rising tide, lifting all boats in the biotech sector.
Absolutely. The whole ecosystem got a boost. BioNTech, which is another big mRNA player, saw their stock rise 20%. Roche saw gains too.
Because if the platform works for one company, it validates the tech for everyone else.
Right. It de-risks the whole sector. But and this is a big warning for investors, you cannot assume that a win in melanoma guarantees a win in other cancers.
Why is that? Isn't cancer just cancer?
No, unfortunately, melanoma is what oncologists consider a highly mutated cancer.
Sure.
It's visible to the immune system. It produces a lot of those neoantigens we talked about.
The wanted posters.
Right. There are a lot of fingerprints left at the crime scene.
Hmm.
But other cancers, like pancreatic or prostate cancer, are much tougher. They are quieter. They don't have as many mutations. So they are much harder for the immune system to spot, even with an mRNA vaccine.
So investors need to be really careful not to just blindly throw money at any mRNA company thinking it's a guaranteed win.
Exactly. The clinical hurdles are still very real for other types of cancer.
Now, speaking of hurdles, we need to introduce a crucial macroeconomic factor here because this isn't just happening in a vacuum.
Oh, this is a huge point.
According to the research data, at the exact moment this amazing technology is being validated, we are seeing some major shifts in U.S. policy. And to be clear, we are maintaining strict political neutrality here. We're just looking at this as an economic variable.
Right, just analyzing the data.
Exactly. So currently, the Trump administration is overseeing significant budget cuts and political pushback regarding federal funding for mRNA research in the U.S.
Yeah, and that has massive implications for where this industry goes next.
How so?
Well, historically, the U.S. has led the world in biotech innovation, largely because of massive government funding like grants that subsidize the early, riskiest stages of research.
Right, taking the financial burden off the companies.
Exactly. So if U.S. funding, regulatory support, and manufacturing subsidies begin to shrink, the cost of innovation is going to rise drastically for these companies. They'll have to fund it all themselves.
Which hurts their profit margins.
Significantly. And capital always flows to where it's treated best, right?
Yeah.
So if it becomes too expensive or too risky to build these custom mRNA 3D printing factories in the U.S., we could potentially see the center of biotech research shift entirely to Europe or Asia.
Wow. So they might just pack up and move the manufacturing to countries that offer better tax credits or government support.
Exactly. It's a huge policy risk that investors have to monitor.
So you're not just investing in the science, you're investing in the regulatory environment.
100%.
Okay, this has been an incredible deep dive. Let's kind of summarize the core lesson here for the beginner investor.
Sounds good.
Basically, this phase 3 trial represents a historic shift. We are moving from one-size-fits-all blockbusters to a truly personalized biotech platform. And that opens up biotech as a viable long-term growth investment, somewhat similar to the tech sector.
Right.
But as an investor, you really have to look past the day one stock hype. Don't get caught up in a short squeeze. You need to focus on those manufacturing costs, the patent strategies like Merck's super sauce, and the regulatory environments we just talked about.
Exactly. The business of medicine is fundamentally changing, and you have to adjust how you evaluate these companies.
Well said. So to wrap things up, we always like to leave our listeners with a final provocative thought, something to kind of mull over.
Yeah, I've got one for you, and it builds right on everything we've discussed today.
Let's hear it.
If treating a disease truly becomes a process of reading data and writing customized, literally treating biology like a software problem, will the most valuable healthcare companies of the next decade even be traditional pharmaceutical companies?
Yeah.
Or will they be logistics companies, data processing giants, and automated manufacturing firms that just happen to work in medicine?
That is fascinating. Like Amazon or NVIDIA suddenly becoming the biggest healthcare players because they have the infrastructure to actually scale it.
Exactly. The skill set required to succeed is completely shifting.
That really changes how you look at the entire sector. Well, that is all the time we have for today. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button.